The main thing you need to be able to do to run a show is plot a show. If you can't do that, you're in trouble. The idea for Dead Lucky came about because we really wanted to tell a crime thriller, but we're interested in experimenting with genres and subverting genres. There was a lot of Scandi noir coming out at the time, and we thought, well, what does Australian noir look like? And we wanted to find a lot of lightness and comedy in sort of unexpected places for our version of a crime thriller. And we started to think a lot about Rachel Griffiths in the role of a female detective, because we'd worked with her before and we thought that would be fabulous. And then as a world, I suppose the 7-Eleven story was breaking at the time, about convenience store owners exploiting what turned out to be international students. And when we started kind of immersing ourselves in that world, we got really excited by the world of international students. It's a big industry in this country. There's a lot of positive things going on for international students, but there's also workplace exploitation, rental scams, cultural pressure back home. We also started reading about that international student who was held at gunpoint in a store, working ridiculous hours, not being paid for those hours. And then we kind of married that with the partnership between a senior female detective and a young Australian-born Chinese detective as her trainee.
Every newbie gets a senior detective to pass or fail them. Lucky you got me.
Well, the great thing about working with another showrunner and there being two of us is that we can share the producing and the writing duties between us. So if we're in the middle of writing an episode and producing things need to be dealt with, one of us can go and deal with like a cost report meeting or a financing meeting while the other can continue writing a scene, and vice versa. So I think that's kind of what we did, is that we would tag team a bit, but what's really important is to just maintain that communication. We had to communicate clearly between each other and have an agreed understanding on what the vision of the show was and what our briefs to each head of department was. So because we had done that, we were able to separate when we needed to. But obviously do a lot together as well.
We loved working on the four-parter. I guess Dead Lucky's a bit like a film in that the four-parter allowed us to kind of explore all these different worlds and then bring them together at the end. So we really enjoyed that.
It's normally in episodic television you film in blocks, say 2-episode blocks. And on a long-running series there comes a point where you're in pre-production, you're in production and post all at the same time, which is when your head can start to explode. But the great thing about this is every stage was separate. So by the time we got to post, it had been completely shot. We didn't have to worry about any of that. We could just totally focus on the post and cutting it, which was such an amazing experience to be able to craft it that closely and with that much attention to detail.
It was great bringing David Caesar, the director, on really early for the show because we were able to collaborate on the look. And I guess we were talking a lot about the idea that the show was set in Sydney and you can't make a Scandi noir look in Sydney. So we kind of went, well, what's Sydney noir? And David made the point very early on that Sydney is a place of almost blinding light, and so that we will get our edginess not from darkness and grimness and kind of cold snow-like scenes. We're going to get it from a kind of blinding, almost it's too good to be true kind of Sydney light. And Matt Temple came on early too, the cinematographer, and really embraced that idea too.
In terms of casting the show, Rachel Griffiths was involved early. The next stage for us was finding the international students, because we were really excited about the prospects of a young, diverse cast, and we were so lucky that there was such a great talent pool out there. And during the audition process, we were really encouraged that the feedback from the actors who were testing was saying, we can relate to these characters, our lives are in these scenes. And so the other thing we really wanted to do with the casting was to cast actors against type. We really, really wanted to work with Justine Clarke again because we're in love with her. And so when we created this character of Erica Hodge, who's a racist convenience store owner, we thought she would be perfect for it. And luckily she agreed. And likewise, Ian Meadows to play Corey Baxter, the psychotic killer, because no one would ever expect Ian Meadows to be in that role, and he was very into the idea. And so we ended up with this amazing cast.
Tomorrow morning, Jackson's going to basketball, I've got a Zumba class, and you're going to buy a gun.
Us at Subtext Pictures are so excited for Australia to see Dead Lucky on SBS. But what we're also really excited about is that we sold to Sundance Now, which is AMC Sundance's premium streaming service. So the show will be premiering in the US, UK, Canada, Germany, and other territories really, really soon. And I guess moving forward for Subtext Pictures, we want to make projects that Australian audiences really want to see and will engage with, but also projects that have international appeal. So that's what we're looking forward to making more of in the future.